You're watching Let's Chat.
Glad to have you here as we continue on this Thursday morning. Time for some free legal advice with our attorney friend Gary Massey from Massey and Associates. Gary, good morning.
Good morning.
Getting into this time of year when it's a little cooler and it stays dark a little longer, and especially on a day like today when we had rain, we had fog, we had everything else, the car accident numbers just keep racking up. As of earlier this morning, we had a bunch here in the Tennessee Valley. So I wanted to ask you right off the bat, whether it's a major or a minor accident, if you are involved in a wreck, what is step number one?
Well, step number one is to always call the authorities. Always make sure that you get the police involved or whatever law enforcement agency, has jurisdiction in that place, because you want a government record of exactly what happened and who was there. So you want to make sure that there is a police report. Sometimes on private property in a parking lot or something like that, the police refuse to come out. Then if there is a property manager or any kind of local security, then you would like for them to come and hopefully make a report just to record, to verify, the facts on the ground from somebody who's not involved in the wreck.
And that could be to your benefit if you have a soft tissue injury or something like that that doesn't pop up until days or even weeks later. What about taking pictures of the accident itself? Good idea, bad idea?
Absolutely, it's a good idea. I encourage everybody to take pictures of everything they can. If they're in a car crash, the cameras on our phones are just, they're one of the best inventions for my practice that we've ever seen, at least since I started practicing, where people can get pictures of exactly where the cars were and exactly what happened and things of that nature.
That was going to lead to my next question. What should you take a picture of?
Well, it's interesting, Chip. A lot of people are kind of hesitant in the things that they take pictures of. But one thing you want to do is you want to capture where the cars are and try to and also where the streets are. So if it's at an intersection, if there's a merge lane or anything like that, you want to show all of those different things and where the cars are in relation to those things. Also, I encourage people to take a picture of the people or person in the other car, because sometimes there's a dispute about whether there was more than one person in the other car, who was in the other car, also their license plate, because sometimes people can give false information or they can flee or something like that. You want to identify exactly what car there was. You want to make sure you can prove who was there or what was there. Take a picture of the other car's license plate and damage to your car, damage to the other person's car. Sometimes one car will have almost no damage and the other car will be completely crumpled. Take pictures of both.
Sure. And believe it or not just the Chattanooga Police, but the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and a lot of other jurisdictions deal with cases regularly about misinformation as to who was driving the car that is primarily at fault.
It's not uncommon at all.
And you just think, how can they try to do that by saying Joe was driving when it was clear that there was somebody else driving? So
I'll tell you a story about that, Chip.
Please.
Several years ago, we had a case where we couldn't get the case settled, and so we filed a lawsuit, and we served the person who caused the wreck. And the person who caused the wreck had moved 2 states away. And it took a long time to hunt them down after they had moved. We finally found them. We got them served through a local process server in that state. And then their insurance company hired an attorney, and the attorney comes in and says, "You served the wrong person. That's not the person who caused the crash." And I called the lawyer. I said, "What are you talking about? That's not the right person." He said, "I talked to them. They were never in Tennessee." And so we had to hire an investigator, but we hired an investigator to go and take a picture of the person we served, and our client had taken a picture at the scene of the person who caused the crash on an ambulance stretcher, and you could still see they were the same person. The person was just completely lying, and when I sent those photos to the other attorney, he realized that his client was not trustworthy.
And if he found that out about his client in that one lie, there was probably a few more involved.
It wasn't too difficult to resolve the case after that.
I would imagine that you are right. Love to have you come back tomorrow morning and joining us.
Love
I have
to.
a few additional questions on this that I think all of us need to know. And you hear these things frequently, but every once in a while you need that proverbial laundry list to go, I might have forgotten that. So,
well, in my experience, drivers on the roads are not getting safer. So you need to be prepared.
I share that experience with you 100%. And remember, nerves are always on edge when you're in a car wreck, no matter how minor it could be. And watch out for the other driver having a hair trigger.
That's
that
right.
has been known to happen
It
as
has.
well. You can get in touch with Gary and the great staff at Massey Attorneys. They are out on Lee Highway, 6400 block of Lee Highway. They're easy to find right off of 153. The website, masseyattorneys.com, masseyattorneys.com. Gary and I'll see you tomorrow morning here starting at 10 for the weekend edition of Let's Chat.